Morning, everyone. Hope you guys had a wonderful day yesterday, and I really do hope that continues into the coming days for this weekend and into the next week as well. So today's Saturday, so we're on day 2. You see, Christ said that on the third day he would rise. So day 1, Friday, day 2, Saturday, and Sunday, tomorrow, will be day 3. But Saturday, it's the only day that he was never alive. You see, like Friday, he was executed on that day, so in the morning he was alive, and then Sunday he was risen, so he was alive again. But Saturday is the only day where his body is in the tomb the whole day. And I think it made for a very quiet day. When you look at the scripture, there really isn't a whole lot. The only big play that's made is by the religious leaders with Pilate. You see, they were worried that someone would sneak into the tomb, whether it's a follower or a disciple of Christ, and steal the body. And then make that look like he had risen from the dead, right? Because the body's gone. Everyone thinks that the prophecy was true, and they believe that he is the Messiah, and that's not what they wanted. So they go to Pilate, and they tell him this story, tell him what the prophecy was, and Pilate agrees that he will guard the tomb for them. So they roll a boulder in front of it to block the entrance, and then he has guards stationed there as well. Now, I thought it was really significant that they had gone and done this on the second day. See, the whole time that Christ is doing his ministry, he's teaching people, he's building a following, and revealing to people that he was the Messiah. And they didn't agree with it. So the whole time they're going out, they're trying to trap him, they're trying to trap his followers, to show that he's not it. They're trying to make him make a mistake. So the whole time that he's doing this, they're just out to get him. They're out to stop his plan, and in turn, stopping God's plan. And even now, asking Pilate to guard the body, to block the entrance of the tomb, it was all to stop God's will. And knowing what happens tomorrow, we know you can't stop God's will. No matter what you do, you can't stop it. They couldn't stop it then. Everything they did was to try and stop it from happening, and it just led to it happening. Because you cannot overcome God's will. And now that's not to say that our actions don't matter, because they absolutely do. You think about every time that Christ talked with the religious leaders, he used it as an opportunity to remind them of their actions and the consequences that they would have. It's not about them stopping God's will, because they couldn't. But your actions do impact your place. And he would tell them that, like, the beggars on the street would see heaven before they would, because they're actively trying to stifle God's plan. So our actions absolutely matter. That's why Christ really tried to teach us submission to God's will. That if we allow God's will to lead our lives, to lead our everyday lives, great things can come out of it. Even in that last moment, Christ was like, if I don't have to do this, don't make me do it, but your will be done. So he submitted to God's will because he knew that his will was greater than himself. I think it's so important that we ask ourselves too, are we submitting to God's will? It can be a really hard thing to think about, especially during stressful times where it seems like everyone around us is panicking, including ourselves sometimes, and it's hard to focus on God's plan over and above what's going on in the world around us. So I just really encourage you guys, take this down day, this quiet day in the middle of Easter to think about where you're at and where you're going, and if that lines up with God's plan. And take some time to pray and to really, really listen to what God's telling you this weekend. Guys, I hope you have a wonderful day today, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.